Hi, dear students. In earlier class, you have learnt about the electricity lesson like electric current, potential difference, resistors in series and parallel, and also the factor that depends on the resistance of the conductor. So, in today's class, let's discuss the question answers regarding those concepts. Okay. So, the first one, what does an electric circuit mean? So, means what is the meaning of electric circuit? So, electric circuit is a continuous and closed path of an electric current. So, circuit nothing but it is a path of flow of electrons. Okay, mainly there are two kinds of electric circuit. One is closed circuit and the other one is open circuit. So, in closed circuit, the current flows, and when the circuit is open, the current does not flow. Okay, the next one, define the unit of current. So, what is the SI unit of current? It is ampere. See, only this answer is not enough. You have to define what is 1 ampere. Okay. So, when this question comes, if you write only ampere, you won't get the marks. So, define the unit of current. That means you have to define what is 1 ampere. So, 1 ampere is equal to flow of 1 coulomb of charge per second. Okay. See, we know that I is equal to what? Flow of charges, right? Rate of flow of charges, that is Q by T. And the unit of current I is ampere. So, ampere, and charge it is coulomb, and the time is a second. So, when this ampere current becomes 1 ampere, 1 unit, when both the numerator and denominator becomes 1, that is 1 coulomb of charge per 1 second, and the current in the circuit becomes 1 ampere. We'll move on to the next question. Okay, calculate the number of electrons constituting 1 coulomb of charge. Here you must find the how many electron consist 1 coulomb of charge. Okay, number of electrons you need to find. Now we know that 1 electron is equal to 1.6 into 10 to the power minus 19 coulomb. Okay, this is the known term. That means 1 electron consists this much of a charge. So 1 coulomb of charge is constituted by how many electrons? Okay, this is the question. Now when you cross multiply these terms, you will get 1 into 1 divided by 1.6 into 10 to the power minus 19. Okay. Now it becomes 1 by 1.6 into 10 to the power minus 19. Okay, now you shift this 10 to the power minus 19 to the numerator. So what happens when we shift the terms? If it is negative, it becomes positive in the numerator. That is 10 to the power minus 19 becomes 10 to the power plus 19 in the numerator. Okay, so I'll write 1.1 into 10 to the power plus 19 divided by 1.6. Okay, now keep this 10 to the power 19 as it is. Just divide these two terms, that is 1 by 1.6. See, before we divide the number, we can avoid this decimal by multiplying 10 to both numerator and denominator. So it becomes 10 by 16, right? That is 1 into 10 is 10 and 1.6 into 10 is 16. Now it became easy to divide the number. So when you divide these two numbers, you will get 0.625 and this 10 to the power 19. Okay, so this much of electron consists 1 coulomb of charge. You understood? Okay, this is the answer. Next, name a device that helps to maintain a potential difference across a conductor. So here usually the students will confuse. Okay, see here the question asked is what, which device is used to maintain the potential difference, right? Suppose if they asked the device which is used to measure the potential difference, then the answer would be voltmeter. Here which device maintains a potential difference? It is a battery. So battery is a group of cell that maintains a potential difference. So how it maintains a potential difference? By supplying continuous energy to the circuit. Okay, so which device helps to maintain potential difference in the conductor? It is battery. Okay, next move on to the fifth one. What is meant by saying that the potential difference between 2 points is 1 volt? Here you have to define 1 volt like how you defined in 1 ampere. So what, first before this you must know what is potential difference. So potential difference, it is nothing but the quantity of the amount of work done to move a charge in the conductor. Okay, and it is denoted by the letter V. So the potential difference across the conductor is nothing but work done to move a charge in the conductor. Okay, now when this volt becomes 1, when work done becomes 1 joule and the charge becomes 1 coulomb, right? That time the voltage also becomes 1 volt. So I'll read the answer. 1 volt is the potential difference between 2 point in a current. So here it is a current. Okay, current carrying conductor when 1 joule of work is done to move the charge of 1 coulomb from one point to other point. Okay, so mathematically we can represent 1 volt is equal to 1 joule per coulomb. Okay, now let's move on to the sixth question. On what factors does the resistance of a conductor depends? So resistance of a conductor mainly depends on 3 factors. Okay, that is on its length, on its area of cross section, and the nature of the material. So resistance, now consider a conductor. Okay, this is conductor, and the resistance, all the conductors has some resistance. Okay, means that is a property of a conductor that opposes the flow of current. Imagine this is a conductor and this is the length of the conductor, and this one is area of cross section. Okay, now how it depends on the resistor? So it is directly proportional to the length. Okay, resistance is directly proportional to the length of the conductor. As the length increases, its resistivity also increases. Then the area of cross section, it is inversely proportional to the area of cross section. Resistance is inversely proportional, that is, as the area of cross section increases, its resistivity decreases. Okay, so when you combine these two equations, you will get this expression, that is R is proportional to L by A, and if you remove this proportional sign, you will get the constant, it is called rho, resistivity. Okay, and when you rearrange this, you will get rho is equal to R into A by L. And this question is very important for the exam point of view. Please go through this question. Next, the seventh one. Will current flow more easily through a thick wire or a thin wire of the same material when connected to the same source? So here the question is asked indirectly based on the factors depends on the resistance. Okay, here resistance, instead of asking the resistance, they asked current. So what is the relation between current and resistor? First you should know that. See, current is inversely proportional to the resistance. Okay, as a resistance in the conductor increases, the flow of current decreases. Means if there is more opposition, that is opposition, there will be a less flow of current. Okay, so here, will current flow more easily in a thick wire or thin wire? Here this is nothing but area of a cross section. Okay, area of cross section here, the current will flow easily through a thick wire, because larger the area of cross section of conductor, more is the ease with which the electron can move through the conductor. That means if the area of cross section is more, resistance will be less, so that the current can easily move in the conductor. Okay, so the next question, let the resistance of an electric component remains constant. Okay, R is constant, while the potential difference across the two ends of the component decreases to half of its former value. That means the initial value. What change will occur in the current through it? So here again, this is nothing but Ohm's law. So we know that according to Ohm's law, V is directly proportional to I into R. Okay, so you can remember like this, very important relation. So here R is kept constant and potential difference is reduced to half of its initial value. What happens to the current in the conductor? So how they are related? So potential difference and current, they are directly proportional. As the potential difference increases, the current also increases in the conductor. As the potential difference decreases, the current also decreases in the conductor. So when the voltage becomes half, the current also reduces into half of its initial value. Okay. Yes, I'll read the answer. When potential difference is halved, then the current flow through the component also decreases into half, and this is according to Ohm's law. And this topic is also important, so go through this. Okay, and that is V is directly proportional to I. So the ninth one, why are coils of electric toasters and electric ions made up of an alloy rather than a pure metal? Okay, so here the question asked is coils. Okay, electric toasters, you might have seen electric heater, toasters and iron box. They consist alloy rather than a pure metal. Means instead of using single metals, they use alloy. Alloy is nothing but mixture of many metals. Okay, so why it is so? Because the coils of electric toasters and electric ions, they are made up of an alloy rather than a pure metal, because the resistivity of an alloy is generally higher than that of its constituents metal. So if you see the resistivity, it's given in the textbook. The resistivity is low in conductors and then alloys. If you see the values, say I'll show that table. See, if you see this table, you can see first is conductor. Okay, conductors, that means they have very less resistivity, means they are highly conducts electricity. And next, alloys, if you see the value here, it has high resistivity, right? That means bad conductors. Okay, see, if the material have high resistivity, that means they are the good conductors. If the material have lower resistivity, they are the bad conductors. That's what in electric heater, iron box, the alloys are used rather than the metals. See, and also these alloys do not burn easily even at a high temperature, unlike copper wire, silver wire. Okay, now the last question. Use the data in table 12.2 to answer the following. So please, while watching this video, keep the textbook. Okay, so in that two questions are there. Which among iron and mercury is a better conductor? Now here two metals are given. Sorry, mercury is not a metal, it is a non-metal. In that, which is a better conductor? So I said earlier in the previous question, I said about the resistivity. If the material has high resistivity, then it is a bad conductor. If the resistivity is less, then it is a good conductor. Okay, now let's see that table again. So if you see iron, you can see here, right? So iron and mercury. Now look at the uh, resistivity value of here. Iron has 10 into 10 to the power minus 18 ohmic meter, and mercury has 94 into 10 to the power minus 8 ohm meter. So here which is the good conductor, that is iron, right? Because mercury has highest resistivity value. So the answer is iron. Iron is a better conductor than mercury because resistivity of mercury is more than the iron. Next, which material is the best conductor? See, if you see this table, the topmost metal, that is silver, it has very less resistivity value, so it is a best conductor. Remember that it is a best conductor because it has a lowest resistivity. So this is the 10 question answers we have discussed in today's class. Now it's time to give a homework. Dear students, I have given 10 questions, so you need to answer, okay, and copy it in your notes. So the first one, draw the circuit diagram which includes two cells in series, closed plug key, ammeter, voltmeter and a bulb in series. So here the components are given. Using all these components you have to draw circuit diagram. Next one also, it is related to the diagram. One, the diagram is given and there is some mistakes, so you have to identify the mistake and redraw the diagram, and also mention the symbols, okay, terminals, positive and negative terminal of the voltmeter, ammeter and battery, and also the direction of the current. The next question is, define resistivity of a conductor. So everything is there in the textbook. Go through the textbook, read the content and then answer the questions. What is the purpose of rheostat in the electric circuit? And fifth question, what is the name and circuit symbol of a component that is used in electric circuit to regulate the current without changing the voltage? The sixth one, which device is used to measure the current? Seventh question, how is electric current is expressed? Then what is the SI unit of a charge? The last one is define Ohm's law. Okay, so PDF of this notes and homework questions are given in the description box. So, and if you have any doubts, please drop your questions in the comment section, and please do share and like my channel, and do not forget to subscribe my channel to get upcoming videos. Thank you.